Alright guys, what's going on? War 3, Season 64, LVT matched Gt40. Only interesting ban here, in my opinion, is Tigra. Her being banned basically just makes Kitty a little bit worse. And she's obviously a really good champ on her own. So, anyway, big war, obviously. Gt40, you know, obviously very good war alliance. They're not as dominant as they used to be. They used to be like pretty much automatically war champ every season. Now it gets passed around a little bit between 3 or 4 alliances. So yeah, we know that this is going to be a difficult war. And yeah, that's always fun. It's, you know, a little bit nerve-wracking, but it's fun. So, alright, first fight here is going to be this Vision Arcus. I checked the sig on this guy. He's actually like low sig. So much so that I'm not sure that he was worth placing. But, like, I think anyone could have taken it, but it doesn't matter because Omega Red is just going to destroy this fight. I wanted to invuln for every fight this war, and I actually forgot to put one on here. And I was like, well, I hope he doesn't go to Special 3. Not that it would have, like, killed me, but I would have felt really bad if, you know, something crazy happened. But spoiler, nothing crazy is gonna happen. He's just gonna drop. So, went ahead and path split with K2 in Section 1. He destroyed that Kindred. And now I'm going to move on to Path 7 in Section 2. This is going to be a Captain Britain. I think this is, like, pretty good placement. I don't think there's, like, a ton of great options for her. But Omega Red is good for it because he really doesn't need to hit her very much, so he's not going to get a ton of neuroshocks on him. He can also do her on, like, that bleed exhaustion node in Section 1. I forget the number. Path 6 in Section 1. But yeah, so this is going to be pretty simple. She doesn't want to give me a reparry, which is annoying. But yeah, on my heavy attacks and on my mediums, I'm not going to take Thorns damage. So yeah, you can see this is going fine. I'm going to lose a little bit of health, but not too much. I've done this fight a few times before. I just haven't uploaded it. But yeah, I think, like, I'm sure Maker could probably do this fight. I don't know. I'm sure there are good options for this fight. So, next up here, I'm going to be taking this Korg. This is KP's Korg. He used to play here, actually. Yeah, so Omega Red is obviously a really good option for Korg anywhere. We've talked about it before. This tactic does almost nothing. The tactic, it almost just buffs Mystic champions and does nothing to hurt anyone. I guess it nerfs Kushala a tiny bit just because she nullifies on blocked hits, so it's harder to stack her ignition buffs. But this Korg is going to be absolutely no issue at all. He's not going to shrug a single debuff. And yeah, going to let him throw the Special 2. Pretty simple fight. There was one fight this war that I was really worried about, and it's actually going to be my next fight. And it's going to be a Punisher. And I want to talk a little bit about the placement because I actually think it's really smart. GT's defense for the most part is pretty standard. But this Punisher placement is good. Obviously, he can bleed you through the block. He can crit through the block. Here you really don't want to parry, and he bleeds you through the block on like his light attacks. So if you can't parry him, you know, he can get a little bit dicey. Tiger is banned, so that nerfs Kitty a little bit for him. So we ended up deciding to go with Omega Red, just like I decided that I would do it first to make sure that it was okay for our other player. They placed this in multiple battle groups. And yeah, the Soul Barb really hurts here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to ignore the Soul Barb, and I'm not gonna bait any specials from him. I'm just gonna push him to special 3. So if he's hitting my block or I'm hitting his block, his indestructible is gonna start to go on cooldown. But yeah, you can see like so far so good. No buffs on me. I've done a pretty good job of managing that. Here he's gonna go ahead and throw the special 3. And I'm pretty sure that that gave him a bunch of impact charges. So now he's really going to hurt me through the block. Right there you can see I took like 2 ticks of Soul Barb and it took 10% of my health. So here he's indestructible. I'm gonna throw my special 3. It's not gonna do any damage, but it got rid of his indestructible, and so I ended up soloing. But again, that was super scary. I was like a little bit stressed out about that fight throughout the day. Another champion that I think would work well for that would be like Gentle. Unfortunately, my Gentle is on defense. So, and by the time that we thought of that, I actually think it was K2 that thought of that. And by the time that we discussed that, the other person with rank 4 Gentle in my battle group had already cleared. So, Omega was fine. Not sure I want to do it again. Just because at the end it got a little bit sketchy, but I do think that that's actually a really strong placement. And then my last fight here is going to be this Immortal Abomination. You know, I was not worried about this fight at all, and I should have known that something was going to go wrong, because whenever I'm not worried about a fight, something goes wrong. So here he's going to get super passive. I'm going to lose all of my spores, so now I don't have enough. Right there, I had like 9 spores. That's a 90% chance for him to not purify something, and he did anyway, so he got to special 2. So right now I'm just going to try to get another bleed on myself, and now the fight's under control. But it did get a little bit weird there for a second. I haven't had the fight, like, get off to that poor of a start in a while. But yeah, now at this point this is just a duel. It's just going to take longer than it should. But yeah, so that was it. That was my last fight for the war. My battle group ended up getting a donut. And actually, the Alliance got a donut too. So, it's not like super uncommon for us to get Alliance donuts. I mean, it's always a big deal. I think we've had 15 total. But this is the first one that we've had against GT. So, we always die at least once to them. This time we didn't. So, I don't know why I didn't cut this part out. I'm just sharing energy. Any day now. So we ended up winning this war. Like I said, we went 150-0. They died 4 times. A few of their deaths were kind of random. Like, I don't think it's stuff that they would normally die to. But yeah, so I'm super proud of the Alliance. At this point, GT has beaten Salty. So Salty's at 1 loss. This last war, actually, MSKTT beat New Nation. New Nation's at 1 loss. And we beat GT. So I think that of the people who usually are contending for the podium, I'm not saying those are the only people who can do it, but of the people who are normally fighting for it, we're the only ones without a loss so far. I'm not, like, saying that's not going to change. We still have a ton of hard matchups left to do this season. And in a meta that's so easy, like this one where the tactic doesn't really do anything and there's no blacklist, so you only get 5 bans, you know, like anyone can beat anyone, like genuinely. And, you know, that was demonstrated last war with New Nation and MSKTT. No disrespect to MSKTT, but normally they're not an alliance that you would think would beat New Nation. So anyway, you know, hopefully we can continue doing well this season. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.